everyone, and welcome to week 2 of social welfare and social change. I want to give a couple insights into what to expect this week and a couple encouragements or suggestions for how to succeed in the week ahead. So first and foremost, we're going to focus this week on historical perspectives and historical context for social work practice and for social change efforts. This will be particularly important for a couple of reasons. One, just in general, it's important to understand the history of our profession, because that it has implications, of course, for how social work practice unfolds in the current context. So understanding how things have and have not changed over time, understanding how the social work profession was viewed in terms of its role in society, what its objectives were, and how it could impact the lives of the folks that we serve. Those are some things that you'll explore in the readings and in the lecture this week. The other reason why it's important to do some reflection back on history is that there's a lot to learn from understanding the history as well. And what I mean by that is that you can get a deeper understanding of what challenges you might face in current practice or in current advocacy efforts if you have a deeper understanding of previous challenges or previous attempts that were made to address social change issues. So we'll start with history this week. That'll be our focus for the week. You will pick this week a social work pioneer that you'll then write about next week. So you're not writing on the social work pioneer this week, but you are starting to think about who that person will be. This can be someone like Dorothea Dixon, Jane Addams, anyone, again, from the social work profession that was really a pioneer in that they really shaped how social work has developed over time. That'll be what you'll focus on in your discussion post next week. And this week you'll think about who that pioneer would be that you'd like to focus on. What you'll do this week for activities is you'll have something called social work bingo, where building off of, again, sort of focusing on history, you will go ahead and you'll have a piece of paper in Canvas that it looks just like a regular bingo sheet does in terms of the shape and the style of what you're trying to do, right? Where you're trying to make connections across, down, or diagonally. And all you'll need to do is pick either, again, a row, a column, or a diagonal of the terms that are on that bingo sheet. And all of those terms are reflective of things from your reading, so pieces of historical information from our profession. And you'll just need to provide a definition for those. You get a couple extra points on your lowest scored assignment if you were able to get that in early and you're able to be the first person in the class to get that in. So that's the social work bingo. The other assignments that you'll have this week is you'll have a discussion post. I'm requesting, and the assignment this week is to submit your discussion post as a video. You can record the video on your phone directly in Canvas. You can record it on your phone and upload it. You can do so on your computer. Don't get too frustrated by the technology. So try to do the recording, make a best faith effort to do so. If you're unable to do so, again, that technology is right in Canvas to be able to record and upload there. But if you can't do it, if you're running into issues, reach out to me. You can always submit it in a written format from my perspective if you're not able to do the video. But try the video, do your best. Let me know if you're challenged by that. I'll do my best to support you. And then again, as a last resort, you can do the written if needed. Make sure that in addition to your video and the content for that video will be focused on picking 2 articles from current events and making connections back to some of the historical periods and events that you learned about in this week's readings. What you'll need to do is make that initial video or post by the end of the day on Thursday of this module, and then make sure that you respond to 2 peer posts by the end of the day on Sunday. So that's discussion this week, 2 news articles, and reflections on how they connect back to some of your reading. So again, you can pick a topic that you heard about in the historical readings, and again, find some current news articles on it and answer the discussion prompts that are in Canvas for you. The last thing that you'll do this week is part 2 of your social change project. And what you'll do for part 2 of your social change project is you're going to choose 2 historical eras that relate to the population that you chose back in part 1 or module 1 of your course. And what you're going to do is you're going to think about how those time periods that you selected impacted the population that you're discussing. So you're going to reach out and to me if you have any challenges, of course, along the way. But what you'll do in the writing is describe the major events of those 2 historical eras and relate them to the population that you chose, right? You'll also need to make sure that you'll think about the role that you imagine or that you understand that social workers had in any of those events. So as a quick example, let's say that you have selected for your population the aging population, and you are choosing historical eras. Let's say you choose the 1980s and you choose the 1950s, and perhaps during those eras there was some legislation that was passed that significantly impacted those populations, right? You could talk about the Social Security Act, which was again before the 1950s, but I'm just of course making up an example on the fly. Or you could choose again something more recently that may have had an impact on that population. So think about events, policies, laws that may have been passed, and the impacts that those may have had on the population. And then think about any role that you understand or that you imagine that social workers may have had at that time. In certain situations, it might be very clear what social workers were doing at the time in those social change efforts during those historical eras. But at other times it might not be, and that's perfectly fine. So lean on your readings, which again, all of them should give you a good sense of both historical eras throughout the course of our profession, and also a good understanding of how social workers were engaging in change efforts and how they may have been interacting with your population. If you have any challenges, any questions, would like to touch base with me at any time throughout the week, please just reach out to me. I am always available through email. I try to respond within 24 hours, and I am absolutely available to do a one-on-one meeting with you, a Zoom meeting if that's helpful, to really, again, help you throughout this course. I do look for folks to stay on top of things. If you're behind in assignments, I ask that you catch up this week because, again, the 7 weeks goes by very quickly, and the school asks that at the end of, by the end of the second week, if students haven't submitted work or are struggling, that we reach out to the university, just give them a heads up that you may be struggling in the class. So I'm just going to be looking for that. And again, looking for you to reach out to me if you need anything else, and doing all that I can to be available to support you in this class. Thanks so much for all of your hard work. I know that everyone has a tremendous amount going on, and appreciate your efforts to be successful in this course, and look forward to the week ahead.